The biggest cancer conference of the year just kicked off in Chicago. Thousands of oncologists, researchers, and biotech executives are packed into McCormick Place for ASCO 2026, and the data is already flying. Today we've got four stories that matter. A landmark FDA approval for a rare blood cancer that patients have been waiting on for years. A myeloma therapy so revolutionary that doctors at its debut literally said it takes your breath away. A muscular dystrophy drug that could be the first ever approved for its disease. And the China biotech pipeline war just got a new number that should stop every pharma executive in their tracks. May 29th, 2026. Let's get into it. Story 1. AbbVie gets the FDA's green light for a rare blood cancer, and it's historic. Let's start with a genuine win for patients. A group of patients that has had almost nothing to work with for a very long time. The FDA just approved AbbVie's Decnupaz, technically called pivekimab sunirine, for adults with blastic plasmacytoid dendritic cell neoplasm, or BPDCN. I know that's a mouthful. Here's what you need to know. BPDCN is an ultra-rare aggressive blood cancer that affects only about 500 to 1,000 Americans per year. It starts in specialized immune cells, and it typically shows up first as skin lesions, bruise-like patches or lumps. Sounds manageable. It's not. BPDCN spreads fast into the bone marrow, the blood, the lymph nodes, and historically, the only treatment options were intensive chemotherapy, and if patients were lucky enough, a bone marrow transplant afterward. Even then, many relapsed. Now there's Decnupaz, and it's a first in multiple ways. It's an antibody-drug conjugate, or ADC. Think of it as a guided missile. The antibody homes in on a protein called CD123, which is overexpressed on BPDCN cancer cells. Once it locks on, it delivers a potent cell-killing payload directly into the tumor, targeted destruction. In the phase 1/2 cadenza trial, newly diagnosed patients had a complete remission rate of nearly 70%. And here's something that sets this drug apart from previous options. It can be administered in an outpatient setting. That means no extended hospital stay, no inpatient infusion center. For elderly or frail patients who make up a significant chunk of BPDCN cases, that is a meaningful difference in quality of life. This is AbbVie's first ADC approved for a blood cancer. And for the patient community, this is their first real option beyond chemotherapy. It doesn't cure everyone, and the FDA did flag a boxed warning for liver toxicity, but it opens a door that has been shut for a very long time. Story 2. The CAR T therapy that could make cancer treatment look like a doctor's visit. Okay, this next one is the story I've been most excited to cover all week, and I say that knowing ASCO is packed with incredible data. At this year's ASCO meeting, Colonia Therapeutics, a company that Eli Lilly has agreed to acquire for more than $3 billion, is presenting updated data for a therapy called KLN1010. And the results are stunning. Here's the problem with today's CAR T therapies for multiple myeloma. They work remarkably well, but they're a logistical nightmare. Doctors have to extract a patient's own T cells, ship them to a manufacturing facility, engineer them in a lab over several weeks, ship them back, then administer them to a patient who has first had to undergo lymphodepleting chemotherapy. The whole process takes weeks, costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and requires inpatient hospitalization. It's inaccessible for millions of patients globally. KLN1010 flips that entire model on its head. It's an in vivo CAR T therapy. Instead of manufacturing CAR T cells outside the body, KLN1010 is a single intravenous infusion that programs the patient's own T cells directly inside the body. No extraction, no manufacturing, no lymphodepleting chemo. Off the shelf, one infusion, done. Now, the ASCO data. The company now has data from 6 patients treated at 2 different doses, all of whom had relapsed after at least 3 prior lines of therapy. Every single one of them, all 6, reached a response level called minimal residual disease negative, meaning highly sensitive tests could detect less than 1 cancer cell per million bone marrow cells. That's a 100% early response rate. Investigators also noted KLN1010's safety profile could make it usable in an outpatient setting, unlike currently approved ex vivo CAR T therapies that require inpatient care. Audience reaction at prior presentations has ranged from fantastic to takes your breath away. RBC analysts wrote, "The early data from this program continue to get better." Lilly paid more than $3 billion for this company. After seeing this data, it's easy to understand why.
Story 3. BridgeBio could give muscular dystrophy patients their first drug ever. Now a story from the rare disease world that deserves a lot more attention than it's getting. BridgeBio Pharma just got its new drug application for BBP-418 accepted by the FDA with priority review status for a disease called limb-girdle muscular dystrophy type 2 I/R9 or LGMD2 I/R9. Here's why that matters so much. If approved, BBP-418 would be the first and only therapy for individuals living with LGMD2 I/R9 and would represent the first approved treatment for any form of limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. Not just this type, any type. That is a disease category with 0 approved treatments finally getting a first one. LGMD2 I/R9 is a relentless, life-shortening disease. Patients progressively lose the ability to walk, face serious cardiovascular complications, and ultimately die from respiratory failure. And until now, there has been nothing, not a single approved therapy, to slow that progression. In the Phase 3 Fortify trial, BBP-418 met all primary and secondary endpoints at the pre-specified 12-month interim analysis, with treated individuals improving while placebo recipients declined across every key measure. The FDA has set a PDUFA target action date of November 27, 2026, meaning a decision is expected by Thanksgiving. Jefferies analysts are putting more than 90% confidence on full approval, projecting peak worldwide sales above $1 billion. For families who've been watching loved ones lose the ability to walk with no medical options at all, this is a very big deal. Story 4. The China Biotech. Number that should make every US pharma exec uncomfortable. And finally, a data point that dropped this week and is making waves across the industry. We've talked about the tension between US pharma and Chinese biotech companies before. The Coins Act debate, the national security arguments, the pipeline dependency concerns. But a new Stat News analysis put a number on just how fast China's rise in this space has been, and it's jaw-dropping. In 2020, global pharmaceutical companies spent about $9 billion licensing drug assets from China. In 2025, that number shot to more than $137 billion. The first 2 months of 2026 alone accounted for nearly $50 billion in deals. Read that again. $9 billion in 2020, $137 billion in 2025. A 15-fold increase in 5 years. A December 2025 report from the National Security Commission on Emerging Biotechnology stated that in just 3 years, China's biopharmaceutical industry rose from near irrelevance to dominance. This is the backdrop against which the Coins Act debate is playing out in Washington. Lawmakers are arguing this isn't just a business story anymore, it's a strategic one. American pharma companies are increasingly dependent on Chinese innovation to fill their pipelines, and that dependency is growing faster than almost anyone predicted. Whether you think that's a problem or just the global market working efficiently, this is the defining tension in pharma policy right now, and those numbers make it very hard to look away. 4 stories, one massive Thursday in biotech. AbbVie gave BPDCN patients their first dedicated drug. Colonia showed that CAR T therapy might one day be as simple as a single outpatient infusion. BridgeBio is potentially weeks from giving limb-girdle muscular dystrophy patients the first treatment they've ever had. And China's rise in biotech just got a number attached to it that's almost hard to believe. ASCO runs through June 2nd. There is a lot more data coming. I'll be here every day covering what matters most. Hit subscribe if you want to stay ahead of it. Drop a comment. Which story surprised you most today? Until tomorrow,